This is former WWE and TNA Impact superstar Mike Knox, a.k.a. Nux. You are listening to The Final Count. Keep it tuned. Hey everybody, Anthony Corelli here, formerly known as Santino Morella. You are listening to The Final Count.
This is former WWE superstar Victor, and you are listening to The Final Count.
What's up, guys? It is Ryan and the 502 Ace, my co-host Brian. How you doing, Brian?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
Doing pretty good. And we have some guests on this week on our WrestleMania recap show. If you are watching, you're seeing this title, or if you're listening also, you're seeing the title is Stories Finished. Not just one story was finished this past week, but a bunch of stories were finished this past week. But without further ado, let's bring on our guest all the way from Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast. Please join us in welcoming the host and the co-host of Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast, Mark Martinez and Sir Michael Jenks.
Yeah.
What's up, guys?
So, are you saying this is going to be the last time we're on, Ryan? Since this is finished the story, we're done. We're not friends anymore, or anything like that.
Not.
It was only one time. Once he got us on, it was like, all right, you're done.
One and
Get out
done.
of here.
Great
It was all
lead
done
in.
from there.
Long-term booking on that. So, how you guys doing?
Doing pretty good.
Doing
How
great.
about y'all?
Doing well. I'm so jealous that everybody else's background looks nice. We get the wall memorabilia from me because my logo is too big to put, and it's not a shot. I didn't just pixelate it enough to put it down. So,
Hey, I love the background. I mean, because you got all the wrestling memorabilia and all that on the background. I love it.
Yeah, we have something to be jealous of. I mean,
Right,
Right,
anything.
right.
Gotta
I mean,
think of
at
it that
least
way.
we got the Final Count logo, but
I got a brick wall. I got nothing. I got nothing going on over here.
Jenks over there with a brick wall. So
going downhill fast, by the way, boys.
Yeah.
What was that?
We're gonna go downhill fast. It's almost gonna be almost like an episode of Can Crushers. You guys are
It's
ready.
going to be
MO.
a wreck. So this is again our WrestleMania recap, and what a week WrestleMania week was. People are still calling it to this day the biggest WrestleMania of all time, the best one of all time. I've got to say I agree. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I was not at first with the entrance stage. Let me just say I was not at first all that like, oh, this is the best one yet. The WrestleMania stage, no. I mean, it ended up growing on me, like as we got through the weekend. But yeah, that WrestleMania stage was pretty on par. It wasn't the best one ever, but it was pretty on par. And I like the fact that WWE is kind of scaling down for like Raw and SmackDown, at least for this past week or weekend. I like that they scaled back a little bit to let more fans get into the building. It seems like, at least right now, that they're going to focus on the fans and getting more people back in, getting more people in and accommodating more people.
Yeah, and to that point, I think they're going to continue that going forward. The smaller
Yeah,
stage and smaller scale, and I like that a lot. As long as they don't bring out the projection screens again. That was a little corny, cheesy for the Cody Rhodes thing, but
Exactly. I like the big, the big screen and whatnot. But
Yep.
and if you're in a city where you have to do that, I realize you have to do that.
Mhm.
But like Louisville, when they come here, Louisville ain't gonna pack it out. I mean, I'm just saying. Maybe back in the day. I mean, but we'll see. It is a new era. It is a new thing, and that's something that was completely pushed down our throats this past weekend. But it's true. But I don't see like cities like Louisville, like Lexington, Indianapolis, maybe, but I don't see those cities not needing, and cities like them not needing the big insurance and all that.
I would
If
say
it
the
does get to
same
that
probably
point, that
for
would be
like
amazing.
Pittsburgh as well. Like Pittsburgh doesn't need the big entrance. It
Right.
doesn't. You can pack more people into PPG than that way.
Yeah, of course. And so getting with WrestleMania, the big thing I want to talk about for last week's SmackDown was the big Andre the Giant Battle Royal. And I predicted originally, not on the podcast or anything, but during that episode of SmackDown, while watching the Battle Royal, I predicted it was going to come down to either one of these was winning. Either Bronson Reed was going to win, or what was it? Ivar was going to win. I knew it was going to be one of those two. Even before it got down to that many people, like even before it got down to the final four, the final whatever, final three, final two, I knew it had to have been one of them. I just didn't know. I predicted Ivar. I didn't predict Bronson. Just I guess because of the the run he's been having. Ivar's been having quite a run, quite a decent push lately. So, what about y'all with the Battle Royal there?
Yeah, I would agree. I was thinking Ricochet was probably going to be in a final two, to be honest, because with like Ivar and that, Ricochet has been on fire. He's been lifting Ivar and Jesus by himself, like showing off the muscles, doing everything like that. Bronson seemed like the shoe-in, though. Just from my perspective, just watching everything he's done, how they pushed him, the vignettes, everything. Ivar is only here for the temporary time to be singles push until they get Eric back. And whenever that is, I don't even know if that's coming up soon or not. I think it's been only, 4 or 5 months since he's been gone.
Yeah,
So,
think about that.
but to be honest, I wouldn't mind seeing Ivar get a Intercontinental title shot and getting the title for like a week or something like that, just out of the blue coming up here. But the Battle Royal itself, I was happy to see it was two big guys at the end. Not because I'm a big guy myself, but basically because, listen, Battle Royals, it's usually David versus Goliath. So, especially the WWE one. So, seeing two big guys go at it for the end result, King Kong versus Godzilla is a great matchup that can be revisited. So,
exactly, Mark.
I am sort of sad about the whole Battle Royal because I'm that guy. What they've done to the Andre Battle Royal, you have 3 hours, 4 hours, 24 hours of pre-show the day of. Why can't it still be on WrestleMania at first?
yeah.
Like Andre is somebody legendary. You could say he's on everybody's Mount Rushmore, yada yada yada. It has been since Gronk won it. I haven't paid attention. Like I watched it. Don't get me wrong. I watched it,
Yeah.
but it hasn't done anything for anybody. I've been wanting Bronson Reed to be IC US champion for a while. The downfall is he just won the Andre Battle Royal.
Right.
Tell me somebody that's won the Andre Battle Royal that's went on to do anything wonderful in that year.
A valid point.
So maybe it is Ivar that's going to get the push, like you both think.
Mm-hmm.
I almost thought when it came down to what's his name with the headband and the guy with the Alpha Academy. Why can't I think of his name right now?
Tazawa.
Tazawa. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to get the win, and then I would royally be mad. But at least a big guy did win. I'm glad a big guy did win, but I don't think there's enough respect on this Battle Royal anymore. I would have probably been happier if Omos won it, honestly.
Yeah. What about you, Brian?
I agree all the way with Mark. Like, I mean, it's good to see Bronson Reed win, but like you guys said, I see Ivar getting his push that he deserves while while Eric is out. But
Yeah.
all in all, I enjoyed it. But like Mark said, it needs to be on WrestleMania.
I agree with
and
that.
I'm glad you pointed that out, Mark, because I mean, and that's you with the fact that you pointed that out. Let me go back to when they had the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal on Mania or on pre-show, but then they also had the Women's Battle Royal. Picture this: why can't you have if you're gonna have, if we got back to that day and you put the Andre the Giant Battle Royal on one night, put the women's Battle Royal on another night, and then name the women's Battle Royal, I don't know, Mae Young Memorial Battle Royal. I don't know, or I don't know if they would do Moolah, but
Yeah, that's
Mae
a tough
Young
one to
Battle
swallow.
Royal. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, it would give more people, like you said, 2-hour pre-show. It would give more people a chance to be in front of that Mania crowd, which
Liv
is like,
Morgan wasn't at WrestleMania.
yeah,
Yeah.
which is like it's something that gives people more of an opportunity to be on Mania, and it also gives people to see, to have something to do more than just sitting there twiddling their thumbs.
Yeah.
While
Yeah.
the pre-show's going on in their seats. I mean, what am I going to do? Just watch the screen the whole time? I mean, I guess that's what they did.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's the whole thing about WrestleMania is you have all this talent in the back that's just sitting around doing nothing.
Yeah.
Put them in front of the spotlights. Get them out of the 6:30 crowd. Hour and a half for Gates. The hour and a half into the kickoff. Gates have been open for an hour and a half. Let them go.
Mhm.
Just let them cook. Let them do something. To Mark's point, Liv Morgan doing absolutely nothing backstage.
Mhm.
She had a great cameo on Raw the next night, but because she was in the Battle Royal, people forgot she existed. There's so many talented people that you could make a story out of and just push something and make it work. That it's been kind of disappointing seeing it kind of go away and not feel truly special.
It really has. Jumping from SmackDown, actually, before we go away from SmackDown, let me just also say I did something else I liked about SmackDown was it wasn't really a match, but it was a segment that they did where I don't know if y'all saw the segment that they did with A-Town Down Under and then Kevin Owens and Randy Orton, where A-Town Down Under they took and drove the no, they didn't drive the golf cart, but RKO and Randy Orton and Owens drove the golf cart over to the stadium.
Yeah.
And I love that because it's like not every WrestleMania can you get something like that. Not every WrestleMania weekend can you get something like that to where they can just use the stadium with Raw or with SmackDown. But they did that and kind of used the stadium too on Friday night. I loved that. I just wanted to point that out there too.
Yeah,
they're
that was a
getting-
cool segment.
Yeah, they were getting creative with it. I mean, and I like this. They are being they're taking a lot of risks with what they're doing with camera work and angles and creativity in that. That was a nice touch. I did like that one a lot.
Yeah, it really is. And they really are. Jumping away from SmackDown into NXT Stand and Deliver on Saturday morning, WrestleMania Saturday. The kickoff match for Stand and Deliver was Shawn Spears taking on Joe Gacy. And our winner for that match was Joe Gacy. Joe Gacy with a big win here, I think. Joe Gacy, like, I love what they're doing with him right now, and just the push that they're giving him right now. Working with Shawn Spears, who just came back from being away from WWE, he's coming back, and he's Shawn Spears again. I love that too. I love that he is that. Not again, but that he's still Shawn Spears. That they didn't change his name back to Ty Dillinger, and they left him as Shawn Spears. People know the name Shawn Spears, whether you have been watching him, in AEW. If you watch him as Ty Dillinger, you might know his name was Shawn Spears, or you might not. But if you're a longtime fan of Shawn Spears, you're going to know who he is. That name has notoriety and recognizability. I don't know if that's a word.
We make up
And
words
I-
all the time.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that he's kept his whole like gimmick and character from switching from AEW back to WWE.
Yeah.
Like that just makes it so much more special,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Yeah.
And give
I
him
agree.
an NXT run that he deserves. Like build him to be the star that we know.
We all thought Gacy was going to get a run probably with Bray when Bray returned and we were all naming who's the rabbit, who's the this and that. We thought Joe was kind of going to be pushed up to the main roster then, and then he kind of disappeared for a little bit. So it's great to see that he's back, and not saying that he's not relevant, but he's going to make waves right now, I think, in NXT.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah. He's gonna get the push that he needed and wanted. Like Schism was a thing, but it wasn't really catching on. I don't think it was going over as well as they wanted it to. So now Joe Gacy can kind of go forward and be like, all right, this is a big win under his belt with Spears. And Brian, to your point, I'm hoping Spears gets a run, but I also think they're just bringing him back to kind of put over these younger guys like Gacy and that, just trying to get him to the next level. But it's going to be interesting to see what they do with Joe Gacy going forward, especially with some of the things looking like they're going to open up here with the draft coming up in a couple of weeks. Who's going to step up? And he could be one of those people.
Exactly. So what was everyone's thoughts on the match? If you caught the match, what were your thoughts on that match?
I didn't catch that since it was a pre-show match. That was still early in the morning, dogs, this, that, and the kids and everything. I did make it to see the whole other roster, the main roster, essentially. I didn't get to see this match, so I'm not going to lie to you.
I got you.
I thought it was an okay match. It did what it needed to do to get Gacy over. Holland being involved. Is he actually retired? What's going on? I don't know, but I guess it wasn't retirement, but whatever it was, whatever we're calling it at this point. Right. But yeah, kayfabe. But I thought it was all right. I think it did what it needed to do to get Gacy to a good point.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Then we have for the first match on the main show, we had the NXT Tag Team Championships being defended by the Wolf Dogs, Baron Corbin and Braun Breaker, versus Nathan Frazier and Axiom. I really enjoyed this match. I really enjoyed this match. I'm glad that the Wolf Dogs retained in that match. They obviously, spoiler alert, didn't keep them for good, as we originally found out on NXT just a couple nights later. But I really like that they won this and retained at Stand and Deliver.
They look super strong in this match, which is what they needed going. Again, we're going to probably beat the draft to a pulp on this one, but they look strong because of they're going to be drafted. They're going to be up there. They're going to make the main roster tag team division that much more. As we talk about the spoilers that happened on NXT, that was kind of surprise. And I think maybe now thinking about it, AOP being down there now because Final Testament was a little bit rough around the edges a little bit. So I think it's the right move there. But the War Dogs, be prepared. Be prepared. One of the red or blue straps will probably be on them faster than we think.
Without a doubt. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And first of all, Braun moving the ring because he moves so fast.
Right.
I could only dream of that. And even then I couldn't even dream of that. Let's be honest. But from that, in hindsight 2020 with NXT on Tuesday, I don't understand why they didn't give the tag titles to Axiom and Frazier on Stand and Deliver. That didn't make the hindsight things 2020. Overall, when I watched the match, great match. They did well. They worked well, whatever. But then why wouldn't you give them the winner and then do like a rematch on NXT Stand and Deliver? That would have made more sense to me, following along with tag team champion. You're champion, you get an automatic rematch. I don't know. That one kind of threw me for a loop there. But to everybody's point here, I'm going to actually go out on a limb and say Corbin and Breaker are not together after the draft when the time comes. I don't think they keep the Wolf Dogs together. I think they're going to be our two separate brands because they want Braun to be the singles guy that's running.
Good point.
So,
that's definitely a good point. Brian, did you get to check out the match or on Stand?
That match I did not, but I agree with Mike on that. Like they're going to make Braun Breaker a star on the main roster by itself.
Definitely,
27 miles an hour.
We had the teaser recently, and I was talking to my sister about this earlier today. Do we see Braun Breaker becoming a Paul Heyman guy? It's been teased. Is Braun the next Paul Heyman guy?
I think, man,
Never
that's a
say
tough
never.
one. Yeah, I like that. Never say never, because
Yeah.
you don't know right now.
I think
SmackDown,
he
we
goes
may
through rough
find out.
edges then, because I don't think Paul's jumping right back on TV for a hot minute.
Yeah.
That's fair.
And we'll kind of get this is jumping ahead here. So let me just jump back. I'm not going to jump ahead, so I'll jump back from saying this. But let's move on to the next match so I don't jump ahead. We have the next match was NXT North American Championship match. Oba Femi defending against Dijak, and it's a triple threat match, defending against Dijak and Josh Briggs. And Oba Femi retains here. And dude, I love that was 3 big men, big men, just doing things that no big men should be able to do. I mean, oh my goodness, like the move, like the where they was all on the top rope and the pulling down, that was phenomenal. Just that match was a really good, really great match right there. And I like Oba Femi. He's a dominant champion. Like he's really like he's gonna be a really big thing for real. So yeah, Oba Femi, I'm glad he retained right there.
Yeah, great match. I loved it. It was floating around probably my second favorite match of this card. You guys are gonna be shocked at what my first is, but we'll get there when we get there. I really like this. I do like Oba. I haven't seen him a ton, but you know, when it's WrestleMania weekend, you turn into everything that's on TV. I really like him. I hope he keeps his title a while. I hope he is a monster down there for a bit.
Definitely.
I agree with that. I think he's going to be what replaces Braun Breaker in the terms of their super athlete type deal. Because they always have one lurking around, and I think he's definitely going to be that. But man, I loved this. Was probably Dijak's first great match that I've seen since Keith Lee and him tore down the house in Portland 4 years ago. Like this is the Dijak I've been dying to see and get back into the main event, get back into what he's been doing, what he can cook. Big meaty men slapping meat, but this was big meaty men flying around doing the best they can, and this is my jam. I'm not saying it's match of my night. Definitely the close second for sure.
I agree.
Definitely. such a great match. This next match, I wasn't too excited about this match. Honestly, the only people I even know in this match was Fallon Henley and Thea Hill. So I mean, because I don't, like you kind of alluded to, Mark, I don't really pay attention that much to NXT either. But when it's like you said, when it's WrestleMania season, you kind of watch everything, or WrestleMania weekend, you watch everything. So we had the 6-woman tag team match: Thea Hill, Kalani Jordan, and Fallon Henley versus Izzy Dame. I know JC Jane.
I was gonna say you have to know JC Jane.
So, what was that?
I said you have to know JC.
Oh yeah, I know JC, of course.
Okay.
But your winners of this match was Thea Hill, Kalani Jordan, and Fallon Henley. I guess that's not a big surprise for me. I do know that Thea Hill and Fallon Henley, you know, the way that they've been lately, and so I mean, when I can catch NXT, or when I do catch NXT, but yeah, I don't think that was I wasn't too hyped about it, and I don't know, it was just a match for me.
Same.
Yeah, essentially, I think more would have come out if they would have gave Thea and JC the match that they essentially are leading up to. at an off pay-per-view, this would have given them more eyes. I love both of those. I didn't know Kalani. I really didn't. I've known the other ones a little bit, but I thought a Thea and JC match really would have ripped it down a little bit more since there's some heat there. But I guess we're just in the putrid beginning of this rivalry.
Right.
Well, I agree with you, Mark. It should have been a singles match, but I think they tried to turn it into like a women's showcase match. So let's get as many women on the card as we can. This is the best way to do it. Kind of build like not a Survivor Series teams, but Survivor Series teams, if you will, with it. The match overall was good. It's gave the spotlight to the ladies and all that. And the outcome was kind of what I thought it would be. Tia was trying to get it, and this is what it should have been. She should have won it like her team did. So pretty predictable at the end of the day, but
Yeah. I did like the news that was broke following that match.
mhm.
The news that
About
broke
damn
following
time.
that match.
Yeah.
What was that?
I said it's about damn time.
Oh
As
yeah,
Lizzo would say, yeah.
for sure. And while I'm at this, this needs to happen for Raw or SmackDown, one of those rosters as well.
Yeah.
Something along those lines. So the announcement was that there's going to be a women's NXT North American Championship. And General Manager Ava Rain had announced that that championship is coming soon. And so it's going to be interesting to see who's going to be crowned the first ever North American Women's Champion. But then it's going to be interesting to see how they crown that champion. Is it going to be a tournament? However they're going to do that. I don't know. They may have announced that on NXT this past week, but I didn't catch that if they did. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see who's going to be that first champion. But yeah, while I'm at this, as I said, they need to have a mid-card title for the women on the main rosters.
Without a doubt.
Yep. 100%.
And I don't think that they need to do something and make them similar. I really don't like that they do that they kind of make each title look alike, and each title be the same title. If one's the world, for example, the world's championship, then you got the women's world championship. Make them unique. I mean, for goodness sakes, make them unique.
To that point, Ryan, that kind of limits them what they can do in the draft with those champions, because you have to keep those titles together. So if you move one, the other has to pick up a move. And it's going to be the same thing for the secondary titles if they ever create ones for the main rosters. But going back to the NXT, it's about damn time that they did that too. Mark's Lizzo reference earlier. We'll just pull Lizzo in again. They needed secondary titles for the women. There's so many women that are unable to be in a feud or do anything because they have nothing to chase, nothing to go after. So I think this is a great step forward for them. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a ladder match for these women to get this title, and the first champions coming out of these 6 ladies that were showcased in this match, because they had to put them in there together for a reason, and I'm thinking that was the reason. A little bit of taste of that down the road.
That makes sense, especially with the announcement following that match. That makes sense. I like your reading right there, Mike. Michael Jenks. Jenks. I'll say it that way. Jenks.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm going to say there's 7 people in this ladder match.
I could say that.
Because we forgot about one that has history with 3 or 4 of the same people.
You thinking Gigi?
And I'm thinking Gigi.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's fair.
Yes. Moving on to the next match, we have Laya Valkyria defending the NXT Women's Championship against Roxanne Perez. And I'm so beyond thrilled that Roxanne has become the NXT Women's Champion once again, for a second time. Roxanne Perez is your new NXT Women's Champion. And that match was a really good match too. That match was, for me, I don't know. I wouldn't say that was match of the night. Mine is, to be honest, the main event. But I really enjoyed that match. And again, I'm so thrilled that Roxanne Perez is your new NXT Women's Champion. What about you, Mark?
This is my match of the night by far. I love the arm work and just the way that Roxy was just working over Lyra and all of that. You're happy that this is her second title reign, but I would imagine the person sitting in the crowd is going to be sniffing that title really quick.
Less than a month
Yeah.
before
We're
the draft.
gonna get some quick matches from Julia, and then look out because listen, Roxy's young. I do love her. She's on the wall right behind me. I do love her. She's got many years. Julia does too, but when you have an international superstar, reference of like Okada or Monet here in the future in AEW, you're gonna put a title on them. You're gonna put a title on them. That's a ton more eyes. I think it's what's their next one? I would give it 3 months is their next big pay-per-view roundabout there.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I would imagine their next one's their Roxy loses it. Sorry, but
I mean, as long as
I
she has a
agree,
good
though.
couple month run, I mean, I'm good with it.
I don't think it's going to be that healthy. I think it's going to be a couple weeks.
Debbie
'Cause-
Downer.
Well, yeah, I'm going to be that guy. That's why I have a brick wall to my back. Backs against the wall here, guys. All right, but with it, Julia being shown in the crowd, she's massively over. People know her, love her, everything like that. Her first match is going to be the Impact match to set her tone for the entire run in NXT. And what better way to do that than against Roxy and take her title off of her in a couple weeks? I don't think it's a coincidence Roxy was on Raw, spoilers. And I think that's just a preview. Get it in there. She's going to be somewhere red or blue in the next several weeks. I just see Julia off and running with this by the end of April with the title. And I could be dead wrong, but it just seems like that could be the case.
Well, you won the 6-pack on our podcast, so I can't say
That was by luck. That was only because I changed my guess because we tied the entire night of night 2. But
What about you, Brian? Give us some feedback on. Did you like Roxy winning? What was your thoughts on that match?
Yes, like everybody says, she's a star, but like it's great to see her have a second title reign and all that. But I gotta agree with Mike on everything he just said. So
Right on.
I've only caught bits and pieces of this, like because I had stuff to do Saturday or whatever, and tend to the dogs and all that. But yeah, I caught bits and pieces of each match, so I'm not really have much input on this. But
he's waiting to talk
I'll have
about
more.
Mania.
I have more input on Mania than I do
Waiting on
NXT.
I
Like
got
NXT
you.
for
That's
me,
fair.
NXT for me hasn't been the same since the original Black and Gold. Like when 2.0 came along,
Yeah.
I fell off.
yeah,
I was like, this is not really pushing it for me. And then I'm slowly, watching it here and there, but I'm not all the way into it like I was the original Black and Gold. But you have the stars that you see, like you can tell who's a star in this era of NXT by far. But
yeah.
Exactly. We have the next match, NXT a championship match, and it's the challenger Tony D'Angelo. And let me just say, I'm so glad he's got a match to even challenge for the title against the champion Ilja. I don't know if I pronounce his name right or
Ilja
not. Ilja Dragunov.
Yeah.
His first name I'm iffy about. I'm like, how do you pronounce that? But Dragunov retains the championship right there. Again, this wasn't my match of the night. It was a good match. It was a really good match. Great technical match for real. But I'm not really surprised with the outcome of it. I mean, Dragunov retaining, I'm not really surprised with that outcome. I feel like Trick Williams is going to be your next NXT champion.
He's primed for it.
He really is. This was back-to-back, and I'm just stirring it now. This was back-to-back injury story mode, and one injury lost. Sure as heck, the next injury, I didn't see Dragunov losing. He had the hand injury. Lyra had the arm injury. I'm like, this is essentially the same match for me. So it kind of went downhill a little bit because of that. And like everybody is nodding right here, the NXT is going to be run by Trick in about 2 weeks. That's where I'm saying he wins it quick.
He's already
Without a
running it
doubt.
right now.
Well, I meant with
Yeah.
the title.
Well, with the title, yeah, but he's already running it. I mean, Whoop That Trick is going to be whooping that ass in about 2 to 3 weeks. So we'll see what happens. But to Mark's point, but it was a very good match. Yeah, I don't know if they intentionally did the injury angles to be similar or what, but you're right. It did kind of trickle it down a little bit for me, but I still love the Don, and I still love what I still love Dragunov. I'm now just dying for Dragunov Gunther on the main roster because we've seen it in NXT. So right now my head is like I'm past Dragunov in NXT. He's still putting out great matches, but I want that main roster because I know that's a Mania match, and it's going to burn the house down like the other two have in NXT.
For sure, for sure. Then we have, again, as I've alluded to already, the main event of NXT Stand and Deliver. The match that everyone was wanting to see. Carmelo Hayes. These two were best friends. These two were compadres, however you want to put it, tag team partners. Versus Carmelo Hayes versus Trick Williams. Whoop that trick. And whoop that trick he did. Your winner was Trick Williams. Again, I'm thrilled with this. I'm thrilled with this outcome. And Trick Williams is freaking so over. Like, it's crazy how over he is. What did y'all think about this match?
Jenksy, you want to go first this time?
Brian, I'll go first this time. Yeah, I'll go first this time.
I'm going first all the time.
Yeah, no. The energy was there. This was the true main event. So I'm really happy they put this as the main event because sometimes you play that title card in WWE, but that was past regime. So I think the title usually goes over, but this needed to be the main event. It was a blood feud. It had everything that it needed to end the story between them two. Trick just needed to get the comeuppance on Mello and get him back. And I think that's what was the cherry on top of it all. Was just watching that story progress, watching Trick get to the end product, topple Mello, send him up to the main roster, and just be there at the end of the day, dominating NXT like we know he will for probably the next year or so.
I'll echo that.
Besides all the unnecessary ref bumps, like that match was just phenomenal.
Yeah.
Definitely.
The ref bumps, Ryan, were probably why the gals was my 5-star match.
Yeah,
right. There you go.
Well, of the night, the one that I liked. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, Meltzer
over here.
Yeah, okay, Meltzer, calm down there.
Moving on from NXT to night 1 of WrestleMania. And the first match, we're kicking it off hot with night 1. We have the Women's World Championship being defended by Mommy Rhea Ripley versus the man, Becky Lynch. And not a surprise here, I feel like. I predicted that Rhea would retain, and Rhea retains. I loved her entrance. I loved her favorite song, her theme song, and her favorite song was being played by, I believe that was the actual band that sings it. And so that was really cool. That her entrance, she got that entrance and everything, and then retained. Very cool to see Rhea Ripley retain. And what a great match to start off night 1, kicking it off again, like I said, with a bang.
I was gonna say, not only was the entrance badass, that match lived up to all the hype that it had.
Yeah.
We've been saying for a while, Becky is piecing out of WWE. She's got a lot of stuff going on. So just saying, you probably won't see Becky for a while unless she is Rebecca Quinn somewhere else, as we always predict. But yeah, this was, we give out, just as you guys do, awards at the end of the year. We'll probably talk about this in December in our crushies because it was everything we wanted it to be. 3 months ago, I would have said Becky was winning. Not that I'm a Rhea fan, but I just think the writing's on the wall. The Becky's not on your wall, Jinx, that you have up behind you in WWE for much longer.
Right. No, that's fair. And I mean, going off of that point, I think 3 months ago, Becky was going to dethrone her. But I think now looking back at it, Rhea needed to beat Becky more than Becky needed to win the title, because Rhea needs to have the proverbial, and I'm going to get a little graphic, heads of the 4 horsewomen on her wall type deal. It's her trophies. It's her. I've beaten every single one of them. I think she did beat Sasha at one point. I could be wrong. But she needed to have that in her repertoire. So when they look back at what's probably going to be a Hall of Fame career for her, it's I beat the 4 horsewomen. I've held the title for over a year. I've done this. I've done that. This match lived up to its hype, but it also lived up to the hype of sending Rhea into the next stratosphere and being that face of the women's division. And she's taking the reins from Becky. And I'm going to flat out say that even if Becky sticks around in 2 months, which I don't think this is going to be the case, I think Rhea is now the face of the women's division.
I'd have to agree with that. And I said that that stories were finished. Not just a story was finished, but WrestleMania, they say it's like the restart, where all the stories of that year, not to beat a dead horse here, but are finished. They conclude, whatever word you want to use.
Yeah.
But every match, just about every match had something that completed a story or finished a story. And that's why I made the title stories finished. But the next match we have, and this was I'm so thrilled that they separated the titles, the tag titles. Because I love
About damn time.
Raw.
No pun intended.
Love it.
I had to.
Clearly,
Come on
you should
now.
rename the title of the show, right?
About damn time
I had
stories
to.
finish.
You're right. So we have, it was a 6-pack tag team ladder match. DIY Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano versus Awesome Truth, The Miz, and R-Truth. Newcastle Republic, Pete Dunne and Tyler Breeze. Tyler
Tyler Breeze. Whoa. He's on the
Return I didn't know about.
He is with WWE, but he was not in this match. Versus A-Town Down, Austin Theory, and Grayson Waller versus the New Day, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. And then the defending champions, the Judgment Day, Finn Balor and Senor Money in the Bank, Damian Priest. And this match, we saw the first set of tag titles, because let's go back. The titles had to be taken down one at a time, basically. I don't think it had to be one at a time, but the match did not end until both sets of titles were taken down. And so the first set of titles was the SmackDown titles, and your new SmackDown Tag Team Champions, A-Town Down Under, Austin Theory, Grayson Waller.
Quickly, too. I like that they got these guys out quickly, because, listen, the car crash that then ensued after they were gone was perfect for everybody else in the ring. Like, these guys, I don't think fit what was going on in the next 5 to 10 minutes.
Right. No, that's a good point, because it also spared them. Because let's be honest, these are guys they're putting money in to be future main event stars. So they're like, all right, let's get them out, get them some title reigns, and then let's ship them on their merry way. Grayson taking the ladder bump, that thing, no matter how many times I do that, that is brutal. And then Austin Theory making a cameo later in the match was kind of funny to me, just because he wasn't going to get anywhere near those titles and just popping up randomly. So we know he's alive, at least. But
Brian, what did you think about this match?
See,
At least the SmackDown tag titles.
It's good to see, how do you put a younger talent to have the titles, and not somebody that's repetitive. As much as I want to see Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate New Catch Republic have the titles. I think it was, Austin Theory's time for another title run per se. I followed, Theory since he was on the Indies, like way before WWE, and I've liked the guys ever since. Grayson Waller, he's kind of growing, but like as quick as they got those titles, I was like, damn. That was a quick spot right there. And then the ladder bump. Hey, I've been hit with a steel chair and put through a table. I'd rather get hit with one of those again than go through a ladder all day.
Oh yeah, I believe that.
But it was a pretty sick spot.
For sure. And then we also, in this ladder match, we had a hot tag in this ladder match.
Oh, yeah.
I
We
was
had a
You
hot
have
tag.
to in ladder matches.
I was
Yeah.
sitting there like, what is he going to do in this match? Is he going to throw somebody out, think he won the Royal Rumble or something? Or what exactly is he trying to do? The hot tag was great.
That was the best of the best. And so R-Truth tags in The Miz. Or no, The Miz tags in R-Truth.
Yeah.
And he cleans
So-
house.
Get
Do
5 moves of doom.
Yeah, 5 minutes. Right. And we have new Raw Tag Team Champions in the Awesome Truth, The Miz and R-Truth. I'm so thrilled. R-Truth finally has his WrestleMania moment. Awesome Truth back together, even though they've been back together since before Mania, but that's neither here nor there. But I loved that they became Raw Tag Team Champions. And again, the fact that the titles are split up, I love that.
I'm shocked they still have the titles as of recording, by the way. Like,
Right.
did anybody think they were going to keep them longer than Monday?
No.
No.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I thought that actually Monday night going forward, I thought that JD and Dominic was actually gonna, or at least JD and Finn was going to end up challenging them for the titles on Monday night. So yeah, I was surprised at that.
I was surprised that, well, I don't want to skip to Monday, but that R-Truth still thinks he's a part of Judgment Day. So technically,
funny.
they still have the title.
Yeah, they still do have the title.
Exactly. And then the to go along with that, the chant of "Yes, you are" or "Yes, he is."
Yeah.
This is the next match, the third match on night number 1. We have a tag team match of Rey Mysterio and Andrade versus Santos Escobar and Dirty Dominic Mysterio. This was originally supposed to be Dragon Lee. And then on SmackDown, Dragon Lee was attacked by apparently we don't know who. As of right now, there's some guesses out there of who it could be. But Andrade steps up and is like, hey man, I'll be your partner, Ray. So we got Rey Mysterio and Andrade versus Santos Escobar and Dominic Mysterio. And surprise, I was surprised at this, at least. Ray and Andrade take the win here. I honestly thought that Santos Escobar and Dirty Dom would win this match just because of last year, Ray picking up the win over Dominic last year.
Mm-hmm.
Why 2 in a row? And I also thought, after someone here pointed out to me, that it could be Carlito was the one that attacked.
That's who I thought.
Attacked Dragon Lee.
Like, as soon as I seen that segment is when I texted you. Was like, I believe it was Carlito, but
Yeah.
we shall see.
I mean, that makes most sense. He's the leading suspect right now. Yes, definitely in that.
But I do gotta say, it's great to see Andrade back in WWE.
Agreed.
It feels
100%.
like
yeah.
he's home, like where he belongs.
He's home and he's being booked like he needs to be booked, which is a
Yes.
good thing. And I think as we go along further in the next couple months, it's going to become very apparent very quickly that he is back in the groove and back to where that level people had him at before he left the company.
For sure.
Yeah.
This match to me was, hey, let's get the Philadelphia Eagles in. It did nothing. I know that's mean to say, but this was all right. We're in Philadelphia. Let's get something, because it was the matches before were unbelievable, matches. This was a Raw main event match for me until
I agree.
Kelsey came barreling in.
Yeah.
Taylor Swift's going to be at Backlash, by the way.
Well, yeah, Travis has got to come back.
Kidding.
Travis got to come back. Ryan, to your point earlier, I bet money. I would have bet money on Dominic getting a win here, then getting a win next year at WrestleMania. I said that much last week. So now it's only making me wonder. I think there is still a third match next year between these two, but that's going to be Dom's comeuppance, where Dom finally gets over the hump with Ray. It surprised me. Yeah, it was what it would have been a Raw main event, or just a Raw 10 o'clock hour match, basically. But it got people on the show, and it also showed that two offensive linemen can jump over those ropes. I would have never guessed that in a million years. But It was good. It did what it needed to do to get everything for Andrade on the card, build up the story that Carlito definitely probably attacked Dragon Lee, unless they pull a swerve tomorrow or on SmackDown and say it was actually Andrade. He just wanted to be on WrestleMania, and now Selena's with him, and there's a whole thing built off of that. Stranger things have happened, but this match did enough to just get a good pop out of the crowd and kind of, I think, bring them back down after the ladder match. Those first two matches, they needed that little lull, and then kind of did it.
Definitely. The next match we have brother versus brother, Jimmy Uso versus main event Jey Uso. Yeet.
No eat.
We're eating this match.
There was no match. This match.
Eat the match.
Yeet the match? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I said yeet the match.
Don't get me wrong. That's like they said in the podcast themselves. This is one thing they want to do in their career. But the match was not all that. I have to agree with these two guys.
I predicted Jay to win on the predictions. He did win. But this match, I agree, it was lackluster as for what you would have thought it would have been.
The Young Bucks were jealous how many super kicks were in this match.
They were blushing.
Yeah.
They were blushing at the number of super kicks.
Yeah.
It didn't, for the story that was behind it coming in, it didn't tell the story in the match. It was literally just, let's see how many super kicks we can hit and who looks cooler doing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, where do we go from here with this? Do we have another match? I mean, what's the point anymore?
There can't be a point anymore.
There's not a point anymore, because the whole point of the match, at least from what I got, was that, with Jimmy still being a part of the bloodline. Is there a bloodline even still with Roman gone? I mean, we shall see, but I don't think there's a point anymore.
Yeah,
I think the only way they could do one more match is make it a straight fight and make it as ridiculous as possible. Just, they're going to be doing stupid shit, basically stupid stuff. Excuse my language, but they have to be doing.
This isn't Can Crushers where we.
Yeah, no, I gotta clean it up, but
you're good.
Oh, that's all free range. Go for it.
But they gotta do. They can't be doing. They're just going to be doing stupid stuff, and if there's a second match, but I can't see that they're going to after this.
I think there needs to be more build to a second match, and that sounds horrible. There's been 2.5 years of build for this match.
Yeah,
it seems like the nail's halfway in the coffin in this match that pull some out and put them back in, because everybody said all week this was not what we wanted or anything.
I had a friend after the match message me on Messenger and tell me, that match left me wanting more. Yeah, it left you wanting more because they didn't do enough in the match.
Yeah.
It was just I felt like they were just standing there having a conversation. To be honest, like, okay, it's your turn. Now it's my turn. It did nothing. And the only way I do see this could continue is, and again, jumping ahead to Raw, if Jimmy cost Jay the match whenever that is against Damian. And again, that's also jumping into night number 2. But yeah, that's the only way I can see this continuing. Other than that, I don't see how you're going to continue it. This next match was unlike the NXT 6-women tag match. I loved this 6-woman tag match. Damage Control versus Bianca Belair, Naomi, and Jade Cargill. We finally get Jade Cargill after Royal Rumble. We finally get her in a match. And your winners of this match, Jade Cargill, Naomi, and Bianca Belair. Loved this match. I think it did what it needed to do to show their star power of not just Jade, but Naomi and Bianca. I think it did what it needed to do to show that Damage Control is not the only dominant force on SmackDown or in the WWE for that matter.
I'll jump in. The match did what it needed to do. I'll skip over that because we all knew Jade was going to do her thing. Did any one of you three watch the press conference with these three then afterwards? Unbelievable chemistry, unbelievable BFFs, unbelievable stupidism. And I mean that on a good word because they were a train wreck coming in, worried about earrings and sunglasses. And then I'm like, they've bonded that fast. The downfall is the bond's going to break soon. And I don't know if I want the bond to break now because I've watched them now be jackasses worrying about sunglasses. I want them to win a 6-woman tag title that WWE is never going to have. But But I love these three together. But it was for WrestleMania. 2 are going to cross paths again. Naomi's going to go somewhere else. Just to say it nicely.
Yep.
Yeah, I will be the one guy that will say this. This match was the 3rd match in a row that really didn't do much for me. I enjoyed it. I understood what it was doing, like everybody here. But to me, I was just waiting for Jade to come in. And anything in between then was like, okay, we're getting to that point. I also not a big fan of how they're booking Naomi. Like, Naomi is the weakest link that they're kind of portraying here. And I would like to get her away from Jade and Bianca and get her in her own little circle, get her doing her own thing, get her built back up. Well, ever since Naomi came back, she's felt like she's just been kind of the weaker of the 3 or the 2 basically going forward. Mm-hmm. So to me, it was all about, okay, Jade, first official match besides the Rumble in WWE. How do they showcase her? How do they get her to be just dominant and blow through everybody under the sun? So to that point, it served them well, set it up. The looks at the end of the matches between Bianca and Jade were, for me, looked like Bianca was looking at her like, I got to test this strength. I got to test what this woman is. So it kind of trickles in a little bit to a match further down the line, hopefully in the next couple months.
SummerSlam.
Yeah. Why are we whispering?
We're going.
Brian, what did you think about this match?
It did what it needed to do, like everybody said. That's all there is to it. But you got Jade coming from, AEW. Don't get me wrong, she's the longest reigning TBS champion over there. Like, she got her start in AEW. Now it's time for her to be in WWE and build the superstar out of Jade Cargill that they say they're going to build. So, but like Mike said, Naomi needs to go her path and then let Bianca and Jade cook on their own.
Yeah. Of course, I agree. Then we had the Intercontinental Championship match. Gunther defending, and this
He's
was
already
his
shaking his head.
666th day as champion.
I
It's not
cried.
good news.
This was me. This was
Yeah,
the emotional match of the night for me.
Now, did you cry because Sammy won, or because you lost night one to me because of this match? I just want to verify that.
Both. By the way, both. Because I was on the fence. I really was.
Yeah.
Whatever. But you kind of alluded to it right off the bat. You know, you get everybody. You get the wife and the son, and I'm like, oh, he's winning. But then it was cemented that he was winning once KO was at Gorilla giving him a hug. But it still didn't matter. Like, this was so. I still thought mid-match, I'm like, oh no, Gunther's going to kill him, and his whole family is going to cry and see him, walked out by the Undertaker. Not the WWE Undertaker, like a real Undertaker. But it worked. It worked so much. The only thing I would have loved, and this is a stretch, if at 1 second he pulls the El Generico mask on, puts it on, and then pin Gunther that way just for just a little callback. This match was tears in my eyes and everything. This is unbelievable match.
I agree. I love the story that was told in this match. Words can not all the time does words tell a story. Sometimes the eyes tell the story. Sometimes just the body language in that ring, just the moves in that ring are telling that story. And so, there was moments where you saw it and it's like Sammy's down and out. It's not going to happen. But then he gets a haluva kick, and then he gets another. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. That match had me on the edge of my seat. I predicted Sammy to win, but still there was doubt in my mind at first if he was going to win or not.
No, that's fair. When Gunther started taunting, I'm like, oh, I got a chance here. I got a chance with Sammy. But it was a beautiful story told. That brainbuster shot me up like a cannon because I thought that was the most nastiest thing I've seen in a long time. And it just looked like it was brutal the way it came down. I know Generico has done it before. I've seen him do it a little bit crisper. Gunther, the size of that man, just coming down, it looked like it was crazy. So I think that helped build up the moment even better for the haluva kicks to get us to the 3 count. And Sammy, man, I know they were doing the Rocky thing. They were pushing Rocky in this match. It was Rocky. No, this was just Sami Zayn. This was Sami Zayn's story. He completed the run that he needed. He got his singles title. This was everything it needed to be for Sammy. And that Sammy past, I think it's been 3 WrestleManias, has come out on the winning end. And it's been well-deserved. And it's been a slow progression of how he's been doing that to get us to the next level.
Exactly. Brian?
I agree with Mark on this one. It was tears in the eyes for Sammy. Like, I give him his flowers. Like, I'm going to use it again. It's about damn time. So,
but had a song, I think it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
So seeing Sammy, how far Sammy's came, all through the bloodline, and then him and KO winning the titles last year, and just all the build up to this match, like, it was probably one of my favorites of night one.
Yeah,
by far.
Definitely. Definitely. And then we get to the main event of night one, the big tag team match. Seth freaking Rollins and the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, taking on the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns, and the final boss, The Rock. And of course, The Rock walks down to the ring with the People's Championship that was given to him by the widow of Muhammad Ali, Louisville legend right here in Louisville. Muhammad Ali, his wife gave him the People's Championship at the Hall of Fame. And Rock's walking down the ring with that title. I get that you're proud of it, but are you just trying to be, what I'm saying? Are you just trying to be a champion just because Roman has the belt too? I mean, that was kind of odd to me. That was really odd to me. This match was kind of predictable. Not kind of predictable. It was predictable.
All
I
out.
mean, we knew Bloodline Rules was
Mhm.
going to happen for night 2. So obviously, The Rock
Yeah.
and Roman win. We knew that was going to happen. We knew Bloodline Rules on night 2 main event. But I will say I was impressed with The Rock and how he looked like he hadn't lost it. He looked like he hadn't lost. He looked like he was in good ring shape. And yeah, I will say I do not like the fact that we didn't get to see People's Elbow. I wanted to see the People's Elbow, but it
course
got
you did.
stopped.
As you said, most predictable match of the night. We wanted to know how we were going to get to Bloodline Rules, essentially, tomorrow, the next night for Mania. It was Rock using his power. We thought maybe we'd get a Jacob Fatu, we'd get more of a solo, we'd get this, we'd get that. It was just Rock being a douchebag, saying pretty much don't count until we get the win, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It furthered the story. I don't even say it was a match. It just furthered the story.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Brian,
I would
what do you
agree with
think?
that.
I'm sorry. You go, Jenks.
Oh, it's all good. I was just going to. Brock did what he needed to do in this match. I know we keep saying that, but listen, final boss, he had to be that one bad mother in the match. And the entrance for Brock, goosebumps. Let's just talk this through. But I got to give shout out to NXT Gallus tag team, Mark and Joe Coffey, Wolfgang. They were the ones that trained with The Rock to get him into ring shape so that he could be where he was at Saturday night, which was fantastic. And he was great in the ring. He did what he was going to get in there and do. He was a decision maker. He made it like he was the one in the bloodline you had to watch out for versus Roman Reigns, who kind of became a been there, done that type piece in this match. Odd to say, but that's how he became in this match.
Yeah, I have to say that, I have to say that the Rock in that match, I loved it again. I loved how he looked in phenomenal shape and ring shape. I do want to say that Seth Rollins, let me just say, he scared me like no other. Like that leg and everything, I was so like, please be careful, please be careful, please be careful.
Yeah.
Like seriously, like that leg, I was like, wow, just please be careful. So yeah. Anyways, that was night 1. Let's go to night 2. Night 2 for the first match of night 2, we have the WWE World Heavyweight Championship being defended by Seth freaking Rollins versus Drew McIntyre. And hey, Drew got what he wanted. He became the World Heavyweight Champion in front of a live crowd. I got what I wanted. Drew became World Heavyweight Champion in front of a live crowd, but not for long. And we'll get to that. But yeah, with this match, I like that it wasn't just a quick match. At first, it looked like it was going to be a quick match. When Drew hit his finishing move, and it slips my mind right now. But when he
Claymore?
The Claymore, yes. Thank you. When he hit that Claymore at the beginning of the match, I was like, oh no, this is going to be a quick match. And I'm glad it wasn't, because it was actually a really good match to kick off night 1. Yeah, and again, I'm glad that he did become World Heavyweight Champion.
Sorry about that.
But not for very long. And welcome back.
I'm going to shock Jenks and anybody that piggybacks both of our podcasts, because everybody knows I'm not a big fan of live stuff going on at Manias or anywhere. Essentially, just play the damn theme and let them come to the ring. Clearly, I'll give shout outs to the bagpipes. Bagpipes are one of my favorite things of all time. I've said it. When I pass, I would love bagpipes. Not that I'm Scottish, Irish, or anything that has bagpipes. My name is Mark Martinez. I'm Italian. I'm Spanish. We don't have bagpipes across the board, but I want bagpipes. I love bagpipes. But I love the mummers, the mumfers. I love them. They may be taking over the bagpipes in my life. I love Seth Rollins, and I hate his song, period. I loved that rendition. And they were having the time of their. I think they had more fun at WrestleMania than fans and any of the wrestlers because they just didn't want to leave ringside.
Right.
No, they didn't.
Love them.
They were playing themselves around out. They put the Adam Rose conga line, No Way Jose conga lines to shame.
Yes.
Like they are an embarrassment now because the mummers played through, and it was fantastic. That was absolute craziness. Whatever was happening there. It coupled right along with Drew tweeting during the match saying he was bored. So I mean, it worked out perfectly. But
that and the commentary during that segment, during that entrance, was crazy hilarious.
Who was it? Punk that said he wasn't shaking anybody's hand. Yeah, because he only had the one arm. They were playing up that. That was fantastic. That was a perfect storm right there. I may be the only one that thinks this, but I would have been perfectly fine if the match ended on that first Claymore.
No, I would have too. I actually wanted it too.
Yeah, because I think that would have been excellent storytelling to a T. Like when they did it to Daniel Bryan back in 2012, that made absolutely no sense. This would have made absolute sense. Seth went through a war. He was destroyed. It was what it was. So if that first one connected and ended it, I would have had no problems with that.
I can see that, because he still won. Drew would have still won.
Yeah.
But then it's a shorter title reign if everything still played out the way it did. And what do you think about that, Brian?
If he would have, like Mike said, if he would have won off that, it would have got a huge pop for me. But I agree with you at the same time, Ryan. That would have been an even shorter title reign. So I like how all of it played out.
No, let me get a fight between all three of you. Not really, because the title reign only started once he pinned Seth. So it took Punk 5 minutes to beat him down. So I don't think it would have been a shorter title reign for Drew. The segment would have been shorter. Drew still would have got his 10 minutes, essentially. The match would have been the match, as you guys would have been shorter.
I'll agree to that, but I'll also argue this point. Would Punk have been able to do that to Drew if it was that short of a match? Because now thinking back on it, Seth took it to Drew, got Drew into a more weakened state, if you will, that allowed when he was distracting Punk and all that. I don't think it would have been it would have made sense for him to be as susceptible to that attack if he only had a 20-second match.
I hate that you think too much.
I'm going to argue that he would have
I have nothing better to do but think at this point.
I'm going to argue that he would have still been able to.
That's fair.
I mean, only because that brace is made of like brass or whatever they were saying, titanium.
He would have still got attacked with the brace. He might not have been as bad off, to your point there, but I think it still would have happened.
That's fair.
Just my thinking right there. So we had again, as we've alluded to, after the match, Drew goes over to the commentary table and Punk's on commentary and he's kind of rubbing it in Punk's face basically, and like, I told you I was gonna do it. I was, I did it and whatnot. And Punk's like, and I love this. Punk goes, Drew, be careful, your wife's here.
I love it. Great line.
and he warned him. He warned him not to do that, and it cost him. Again, as we've alluded to, the attack with the brace. Punk attacks Drew with the brace, and this ultimately leads out Senor Money in the Bank, Damian Priest, who runs out, cashes in, and is now your new world heavyweight champion.
For months, I didn't know if I cared about Senior because I'm like, man, is he ever going to do this? What is he going to do? Da, 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 da. I am now buying a shirt. I am now his number one fan. It was like that quick of a moment that my thoughts are going, oh, is Punk with Judgment Day? Is this going to be really cool? What's going to go on? Or is Punk just screwing with Drew to screw with Drew? I don't know. Now, this is the story that has me, because there's a lot of stories that, listen, we finished the story. It was about damn time we finished stories, essentially. This is the new story now. I'm like, oh, Drew, Damian, yeah, I can get behind you now, because he seemed like a lackey for 6 months.
Yeah.
No, that's true. I mean, we played the game. When's he cashing in? Has he been stupid not to cash in sooner? What's going on? Like, how is this going to play out? I always had that faith in Damian, but the WrestleMania cash-in made it a little more special. I mean, Heist of the Century is Heist of the Century. It's going to be the upper echelon of the cash-ins. This was a pretty damn good cash-in when you think about it in the long scheme of things. We talked about it. We weren't sure if it was going to happen. It's like, will they do it? Will they do it the night after WrestleMania to kind of erase Dolph from that reigns, if you will, from people's minds on that? I think the cash-in was rightfully needed. I just thought Seth was going to be the one to get cashed in on. It wasn't going to be Drew. But at the end of the day, I loved how it played out beautifully. And now I'm questioning whether Punk is even injured or not anymore, and if we're going to see him at Backlash. Because I don't know. I don't know if he just doesn't need the brace anymore, but he's still rehabbing, what the case is with that. It's now up in the air. How severe was this actual injury to me? And people can be like, well, you're an idiot. It's a tricep tear. It's going to be long months. I don't know. I'm questioning it now. I don't know where they're at with the injury right now and what the play is. So I'd like to see what that plays out.
I agree. Yeah, as soon as he took the brace off, I was like, wait a minute, is he ready to go now, or why is he taking the brace off? It must be ready to go.
For a hot second, I thought the Priest was just going to hand Punk the briefcase and said, here. And then Punk rolls out of WrestleMania as your champion. These are the thoughts that's in this.
That would have been, that's like a DiBiase move there.
Yeah.
Paying off Andre at that point. That would have been good.
I agree wholeheartedly. What did you think about that, Brian?
You know, with the Judgment Day losing the titles, I thought Finn was going to stop Damian from cashing in, but I'm glad Damian's finally getting, the push he deserves. And he's another one that's came a long way since being in WWE. If you watched his character development and everything, I give him his flowers.
Yeah.
I thought there was going to be, to your point right there, I thought that there was going to be more of like a pushback against him, not necessarily a stopping him from becoming World Heavyweight Champion, but like a pushback. And though it is early on, I think we will eventually see that sometime down the road in this reign as champion. The second match of night 2, we had a 6-man tag team Philadelphia street fight. The Final Testament, Karrion Kross, Akeem, and Razor with Scarlett and Paul Ellering versus the Pride, Bobby Lashley, Angelo Dawkins, and Montez Ford with B-Fab. And then you had also special guest referee, as we're in the town of Philly, or the city of Philly, we have Bubba Ray Dudley. And the Pride picks up the win here. First of all, let me just say, I did not realize their name was the Pride. I until literally last week.
They
I
picked
did
up the
not
win
know
after
that
their
match
botch.
in there or nothing. But the Pride picks up the win here.
I hated everything about this match.
Me too. And then they botched the finish first off at the table.
Everything about
Yeah.
it. And Brian, you're really gonna hate me. Snoop Dogg should not be on commentator. Him coming out being on commentator, instantly bathroom break. I'm gonna go order pizza. I'm gonna go pick it up 10 miles down the road. And I don't get this. I didn't watch this match. I was just thoroughly annoyed with this match.
That was bits and pieces. I was like, well, it's time to go get some like snacks or
Yep.
some food or something. You know, it was not all that. Like,
You could tell they definitely put Snoop and Bubba in this just to get interest in the match somehow.
Yeah.
right.
Like Snoop was for the home crowd, Bubba was for the in attendance crowd to get you to stay there for the
And-
match.
I figured they was going to do something with Bubba or Devon, seeing them at, you know, the Hall of Fame in Philadelphia. So it's always good seeing Bubba, though.
No, I love
Oh,
Bubba
yeah.
in it.
The match
yeah.
alone, garbage.
I
Unfortunately,
didn't
we
like the match itself. It was a throwaway match to me for real. I did make that post about can we get more of Snoop Dogg? I loved Snoop Dogg, but no hate. But I love Snoop Dogg on commentary. He was
Well,
hilarious.
I'll put
to
it
me.
this way: LA Knight versus AJ Styles is better than that match,
Oh, definitely, by far.
and that's saying
Yeah.
something.
best part of this match was B-Fab and Scarlett going through the table.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good spot.
Yeah, and Bubba Ray being the special referee, I knew that had to be there with Philly. Not only that, but he kept teasing WrestleMania, possibly WrestleMania with a table emoji on Twitter, and so that was kind of almost a given that he was going to be a part of it in some way. So then we had the third match of night number 3, and it was LA Knight versus AJ Styles. LA Knight picks up the win here and has his first ever WrestleMania match win and his first ever WrestleMania moment. This was a really great match, really, really good match. And I think it's going to go to furthermore build LA Knight here. And also, let me just say, I really liked AJ Styles' new music. I think it goes with his character and with his darker character version. And so I really like that as well. What's everybody else's thoughts?
Don't everybody go at once.
I thought it was, I know, right? To the point earlier, it was definitely better than Final Testament and the Pride's match. It's still, it didn't intrigue me before, even with the attacks on the home at the homestead and the press conferences and the bathroom, probably, and somewhere other places. It just wasn't there because I already knew it. This was LA Knights to win. Like there's no story there that could make me want to believe or be intrigued by this. And I never thought I'd say that about an AJ match, but just the two characters alone, it didn't drive me to be wanting to watch it at all.
Yeah. I completely agree. Did you get to my yeah? Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, it was a Raw or SmackDown main event match that the titles weren't being defended, or the storyline of like the Bloodline or Judgment Day or something wasn't on that card. It got LA a win at WrestleMania.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I mean, it was an okay match, or it was a decent match, but like you said, it could have been on Raw, SmackDown, whatever, and it would have been okay. Like you said, it got LA Knight that WrestleMania win. That's what it did, and I think we all knew it was going to do that too. Then we have the triple threat match for the United States Championship. Logan Paul versus Kevin Owens versus Randy Orton. And I don't feel like there was any surprise here, really. Well, nope. I'll take that back. At first, I didn't think Logan was going to win. So I was surprised with that.
Mm-hmm.
Until last week on the prediction show, the guest co-host that I had on, he had said, hey, I think Logan Paul's going to win because, SummerSlam is going to be in his hometown of Cleveland, Ohio.
Yep.
So I think they're going to build basically SummerSlam around Logan.
Oh yeah,
Paul.
he's already on the poster.
Yeah.
So I mean, at first, even on the show, I didn't even say Logan Paul. I think I went with Kevin Owens. And Brian can tell you, I always thought it was going to be Kevin Owens was going to be the one to win. But Logan Paul retains here. So
see, I thought it was going to be Randy, for that like little comeback story or whatever. But like Mark said, he's already on the poster of SummerSlam. It's in his hometown. So, I mean, it only made sense. And I thought his brother was going to get involved in some way, but we didn't get that. So,
no, I think they only had the budget for the golf cart to continue down to the ring at that point.
By the way, he was going about Mach 90 down that ramp.
I thought Randy was going over the handlebar. He was holding on.
Yeah, Randy thought he was going over the handlebars. Did you see him gripping onto those?
Yeah, he's gripping on. He's like, slow down.
It's a bold strategy. Get rid of him that way for the match. It's one-on-one.
Yeah.
But I will say they kind of swerved me a little bit, having Sammy in the back, waiting for him to pump him up. When that happened, I'm like, damn it, it's gonna be KO. And then, of course, it wasn't KO because why would they do that 2 nights in a row to make it a special moment? So they got me good with that one because I was like, okay, he did it to Sammy. Now Sammy did it to him. Maybe he gets drafted back to Raw and he's Sammy's first opponent or one of his opponents coming up here.
Good point.
A little bit of backstory there. Obviously, a little bit of backstory is a huge understatement, but I just seemed like, oh man, there's a lot to play there with that.
Are you all three of you mad that Logan didn't call us and he called I Show Speed to be in the bar? I would have done that with no qualms. Like, reach outside your friends, Logan. There's other people that want to be that prime bottle.
Most definitely.
I would have squeezed into that bottle somehow, some way to get make that appearance.
I do want to be the green one though. I want to be the green bottle. Blue is probably not it for me.
You're green, I'll be blue next year. We'll just attack. There we go. We got red.
I'll be whatever color they put me on as long as I'm on Mania. There we
go. Brian, you have to be the red, white, and blue one. The
perfect. I'll do it.
The American Pop, the Fire Pop.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
I love it.
I enjoyed the match. I really did. Train wreck. Here it comes. I enjoyed the match. I really did. I just, after everything being released too early, essentially, there was no drama, essentially, for me in this match.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Night
2 is definitely the weaker night by far. So far.
Yeah, exactly. The match of the night is actually the next match for me. As far as athletic ability and everything, and moves and all that good stuff, and the story for this match was really good too. So this next match was the WWE Women's Championship match. Io Sky defending against Bayley. And I predicted Bayley would win. I think a lot of people did. And so Bayley is the new WWE Women's Champion. And I'm so thrilled that this happened for Bayley as well. She finally got her WrestleMania moment. It was a really great match right there. Again, I definitely would call this the match of the night for night 2.
I'll echo that. Nobody's going to jump. I'll echo match of the night for that because what's coming up next isn't a match. It's a spectacle, as we would call it. It's not a match. This was the match of the night. Technically, sound, story, and all of that, without a doubt, unbelievable match. Just Bayley and her flowers. I think the four of us probably would have predicted Bayley. Just means so much to her.
Yeah, I would agree. I popped Bayley to bellies happening in the match left and right and then the one I think Io countered out of somehow or whatever it was. But I'm just proud that my dog's namesake has finally got her WrestleMania moment and got her flowers and her title reign here. I love this. I will echo it. Match of the night. The spectacle is the spectacle. It's in the running for the Crushy spectacle of the year. Let's be honest. There's just going to be no way hard to top it. But this match was what I wanted to see all night. A technically sound, good affair. It's probably, it might be the match of the weekend for me, leaning in that category there. I have some runnings here, but definitely a match of the better night of night 2. And I will say that I like night 2 way better than night 1, but that's just my thought.
I agree
on that.
Brian?
Bayley deserves it. Like them guys were saying, like the storytelling was there in this match.
Definitely was. Jenks, so did you name your dog after Bayley?
So here's when I found her at the shelter that was up here. Her name was spelled Bailey, and I'm like, that's just not going to do. So I'm like, we're switching that to a Y. This is happening. And sure enough, it was perfect. It was like perfect because I love Border Collies. I had Border Collies when I was younger. The name worked out. I'm like, all right, this is happening. This is match made for my wrestling household heaven right now.
She is not a hugger, though. My God, she hates me.
You're the only one she doesn't hug. I don't know what to tell you, Mark. I don't know what you did to her, but
I love it. And not to sidetrack, but if this counts, Mickie James got her moment back in 2006 when she won the women's championship at WrestleMania 22. And so I guess that makes my dog Lexi, because I named her after Mickie when Nikki went by Alexis Lurie in OVW.
Oh, nice.
So I guess that makes my dog have a WrestleMania moment.
There you go. There you go. Yeah.
Hey,
perfect.
Cool.
Mine only win World Series.
God rest her soul. Not to get sidetracked, but I had to say that. And then the main event, the spectacle of the night, as you say, for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship, which, pause right here, I do think that the Universal Championship is not going to be a thing anymore. I think it's going to be, again, the WWE Championship. As we heard a lot of them saying, yeah, exactly. We heard a lot of them saying the WWE and not the Universal Championship. Mm-hmm. So I think we're back to the WWE Championship. So I'm going to say for the undisputed WWE Championship, Bloodline Rules match, the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes challenging Roman Reigns with Paul Heyman in his corner. This match, not the match of the night, but it very well could have been too. It very well could have been too. So much happened in this match. You had all the run-ins. Now, I will say, I thought that there would be like more like, I thought we would see the Rikishi or some more of the bloodline other than just who we saw, like Jimmy and Solo, then The Rock. I thought we would see a little bit more than what we saw. Although I'm glad with what we saw. Everything fit in. You had Jimmy come out and Jay met him at the top of the ramp, and the spear off the ramp was perfect. Nice spot right there. Then you had Solo comes out and Solo attacks Cody, and we get the spear and the what's his move? The spike spear and the spike combo. right there. And then this brings out John Cena, which if you saw the truck from The Rock beat down on Cody, everyone was saying John Cena and Stone Cold. We didn't get Stone Cold. We'll get to that in a second. But we got John Cena. As everyone said, we got John Cena, or as everyone predicted, we got Cena. Cena runs out, gets a AA on to Solo, puts him through a table, puts him through one of the announce tables. And then The Rock comes out. We get a flashback to WrestleMania 28 and 29. The stare down. The Rock hits the rock bottom on to Cena, and then we get the gong.
That was shocking.
Yeah.
Who is it? But I'm sorry, no. Before we got The Rock, we got Seth. Correct? I think I
Yep.
think this is about the order. Yeah. We got Seth. And soon as that Shield music hit, okay. Now originally I thought Seth, when he gave this line that he gave on Raw a few weeks back, and I think everyone knows the line I'm referring to. I thought that night one was what that was referring to. Night two hits, you hear the Shield music. And then you're thinking, did they reach out to AEW to get Moxley? Is Ambrose going to show up?
I thought he was showing up, and I was going to lose my shit.
And it's Rollins. Not that that's anything wrong with that, but it made sense after you thought about it. After I thought about it, okay, he said, "I'm going to be your Shield." This makes sense now.
Yeah.
So then you get the gong from the Undertaker. The Undertaker hits Rock with a choke slam, then disappears. Rock's gone. Just the belt. You got just the story being told here. You get Cody on one side of the ring. You got Rollins down and getting up on the other side. Got a steel chair in the ring. Roman with the chair. He's trying to decide Cody or Seth. Just this story being told out and played. And it's not just this year's story. It's a story of multiple years of past WrestleManias, of past things that have happened in the WWE. We really are literally stepping into a new era. Not to keep saying that, but we are. So Roman decides, okay, you cost me back in, 2014? You cost me back in 2014. I'm going to whack you with the chair, Seth. There goes your back. Lays Seth out with a chair. Cody takes advantage of that. Gets the three crossroads on Roman. 1, 2, 3. We have a new WWE, undisputed WWE champion, Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. This was, again, a match that was so much emotions behind it, so much emotions riding in and on it. I made a post about, I watched Cody's first match in OVW. Cody's first match in 2006 on OVW TV. I can't tell you who it was with or against or anything, but I got to see his first match in OVW before anyone saw him in WWE or anything like that. I got to see his first match, and that's something that's so cool now, seeing him as WWE champion. So huge. What does everyone else think about this match?
You could tell, during Cody's entrance too, which was badass. You could tell the emotion on Cody's face from the entrance through the whole entire match, and from him finally finishing the story, quote unquote. But you got to give it to Roman though, carrying WWE on his back all of these years as a dominant champion. The mic work he's done, the story they've told with just him or the Bloodline. It's just great storytelling from them. But I think it was time for Roman to, I have to say, put over the talent. And walk away for a little bit. And who better, than Cody Rhodes? Because, yeah, he might not won last year, but, like, I feel like this year was, like, it was meant to be this year. Like, I feel last year wasn't enough. And then with seeing The Undertaker and Cena and all of them, that was great. The Jimmy and Jay spot, I like that off the stage. That was a pretty cool spot. But as far as the whole match, I loved it. Like, I had a huge pop when Cody won. I'm pretty sure my neighbors heard me 5 houses down. Just saying.
After, what was it, 25 hours of wrestling from Friday till, Sunday at midnight. Well, actually a little bit earlier, say 11 o'clock. This had me jonesing all day Monday. I'm talking to other people that don't watch wrestling about this match, just telling them what happened and everything. Unbelievable story from a decade ago until now, essentially. It culminated beautifully. You're right. Last year wasn't his time. I'm getting the chills right now talking about it. I want to say, though, when I think of WrestleMania 40, it was nothing that WWE shot on their cameras that I will remember it. It was a TikTok or somebody that followed Roman and Paul hugging right in between the X and the L. And you did see Roman once he got pinned with that smile, kind of a la Charlotte last year, knowing they're doing the right thing, that WWE is in good hands with Cody Rhodes. But the Paul and Roman hug at the end was maybe we shouldn't have seen it. Maybe we shouldn't have. Maybe they should have been tucked behind the curtain or something. But that's WrestleMania 40 for me, because that's an era. I will continue to say this could have went. Shoot me. This could have went one more year, because there's enough still meat and potatoes on this whole story. They could have done it one more year. But I think Joe, a la Roman, we don't know yet. But I think it's going to come out. He's not well. Or it's coming back around or something. And they're like, we have to pull the trigger. We have to make sure, because Joe comes back in a year and he becomes Roman, or a year and a half or whenever. He didn't lose anything in this match, by the way, right?
No.
He lost the title.
Yeah.
Right.
Roman walks back out that door, Royal Rumble 2026. People are going to lose their shit when he comes back.
Mm-hmm.
This was perfect because, yes, on paper, Cody beat Roman with Cena, with Undertaker, with Jimmy, with Jay. This wasn't a clean match across the board, and you could have done the same thing for Cody if he lost. Yes, Cody lost, but with Undertaker, with Rock, so there was still more meat. We just don't know, and it might be a little bit before we know what's up with Joe. But the hug and the smile was WrestleMania 40 for me, and that's why I cried. One, because I love Cody Rhodes. He's tattooed on me twice, essentially. One for his dad, one for him and his brother. But Roman Reigns, I will always acknowledge him as my chief.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a beautiful way of putting that, Mark. This was, and this, I saw it a million times, but it's the perfect way to sum it up. This was WWE's version of the end game for the Avengers. They needed to do, Thanos had his army, Roman had his army, his bloodline behind him. Cody came into this with his army behind him, his Avengers. Seth was Iron Man. He makes the ultimate sacrifice at the end. He wasn't there to win the match for Cody. He was there as the distraction to Roman. And that's exactly the Shield piece that he played when he made that comment that he was going to be Cody's Shield. He played that role perfectly, because the one thing Roman can't do is get over the first betrayal he ever had in WWE.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's been a constant in his life since joining WWE. He's getting stabbed in the back, whether it was Seth to Sammy last year at the Rumble, hitting him with the chair in the back. He gets squared off and gets hit in the back. But Seth was that first betrayal. He never got over it. It defined him as a character these past 10 plus years. And we saw the end of that. He put an end. We talk about Cody's story finishing. He finished the story between that, how much that actually hurt him in him and Seth. They'll have matches down the line, but I think that was the exclamation point to draw the line in the sand and say, you hurt me no longer in that regard.
Definitely. That's a great way of putting everything right there. Both Mark and Jenks right there. Great way to put everything. And to close out WrestleMania. Wow. Yeah, this is such a WrestleMania. And again, like you said about the Paul and Roman, I love that we did see that embrace though. And I think going to Raw, I think then when the fans chanted "Thank you, Roman," that was really heartfelt. Like they really actually meant that. That wasn't just let's just chant it. No, they meant it.
100%.
And can we point out, like, when Samantha was announcing the winner, the tears she had, you could hear it in her voice. Like that made part of the story as well. So
that made it 20 times better. And I didn't think it could get any better, but that was I think that was every fan channeled through her to make that announcement, basically.
Listen, do they, as ring announcer, and Rye, you can attest to this, Lou, we get them, right? We get the announcements. We know what we're supposed to say when we're supposed to say. Mm-hmm. Do they not give Samantha that's raw emotion? Yeah, all right. So Cody won. She's reading it on the paper all night that Cody's going to win the match. Yada yada yada.
No,
I don't think they give her. I don't think they give her shit.
No,
didn't.
And put it this way, she announced every single match of WrestleMania night 1 and night 2 by herself.
Yeah. I think somebody, I don't know if she said it or somebody reported it. She purposely told them she didn't want to know the results. She doesn't want to know how things end. So anything that comes out of her is genuine emotion. I think I read.
Even from my personal experience of ring announcing on some shows, you don't on indie shows. I've never been given a cue card as far as who to say wins. I don't know who wins. I don't know who.
Oh, we're doing it wrong up here then, because I know.
At least it's been a while since I did, but I don't think I did. I might have. I don't recall
the show. Me and you did. Me and you did a while back, Ryan, like a few years ago. If I'm not mistaken, they didn't give you the winners.
They gave me
you everything else.
They gave me like who's in the match, but they didn't say like who's winning.
Because that was up in Salem, Indiana that night at the fairgrounds.
Mm-hmm. They gave me.
Maybe I need to start doing it like that. Well, I'm not going to start getting on a high horse, or I can't not book storylines then, because then I would know. I digress. Go ahead.
But yeah, they did. They gave me who was coming out in first and who was coming out second. Blah blah blah, and then that was it. I didn't know who was winning. Nothing. So yeah. Moving on to Raw, I guess the big thing for Raw was really just I want to talk about this World Heavyweight Championship #1 contender match. You had Bronson Reed in it. I know you had Jey Uso,
Ricochet,
Drew. Ricochet, and then who was the other?
Drew.
And Drew, yeah, Drew. And Drew. And of course Jey picks up the win here. But with a little help from CM Punk.
He's he's priest for a sacrifice. Do we need to say I'm not trying to rush her. He's a priest for a sacrifice. That's all it is.
Yeah. I agree.
No, that's valid because if WrestleMania proved anything, he's not the player to go forth and take the title off of Priest, right? So you're right. He's Priest's first sacrifice in this reign. The question then becomes who's actually the one to take it off of Priest.
Yes.
Because I feel like Priest could be on a loaner contract, or maybe they'll give him a healthy run. I don't know with this new era how that's going to break down with it. So, but yeah.
Well, we think at some point Drew, and then essentially at the Castle, Drew and Gunther.
But see, that begs the question here: if Punk's back, is Drew in that title picture right away? Is either of them in the title picture?
We think
And
they
so
have
that-
to finish that feud right there between them, and then maybe a number one contendership match for it to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still think, even though Gunther lost, I still think the Battle in Berlin is where he's winning that title. If he's not, maybe it is the Clash at the Castle, and he carries it into Berlin. But I still think that's the play here: is get him to Bash in Berlin, whatever it's called. That's going to be where his big comeuppance is. So, I do want to call out in that main event, Ricochet saying "I'm sorry" to Samantha before he made that leap under the announce table.
Yes.
Cracked me up.
Right.
that was great. Is there anything else that anyone else wants to bring up from Raw by chance?
Are we shocked we didn't get a free agent? And I'm not just saying the one that is not a free agent that everybody thinks is a free agent that's better than anybody else on this podcast. Are we shocked that we didn't get something?
I think for me, no, it was a nice to have type thing. I was more shocked. Hey, we got the NXT champions up here, Roxanne and Dragunov. Great, fantastic. I was really shocked about that. That was good. The night after WrestleMania anymore doesn't really pop those big surprises to me. And I think for WWE's sake, they had to get us to get off the high just gently from the WrestleMania, because I think the Cody thing was the big thing of the weekend, and that was the focus. Now that we're going to get the Friday night here coming up. Who knows? SmackDown might be the night we get a free agent or something happens. But I think the night after WrestleMania this is Cody's night to shine. We'll give you a couple bits and pieces to kind of look at. But this is about Cody. It's all about Cody winning that title.
Yeah, Jenks, I'm with you. I like that they brought up had the NXT champions show up on Raw. I feel like it's, back years prior, they would have brought someone up. I think the last couple of years, they're not doing that because of for one, you got the draft coming up.
Right.
Yep.
Why bring someone up if you're going to have someone drafted? That kind of defeats the purpose of bringing them up in the first place. Because if they're going to be drafted up, that is. But if you're just bringing someone up out of the draft, don't have them be drafted, then yeah, just bring someone up. But I think that's why they don't do that anymore, and I like that because it defeats the purpose of having a draft.
Last question, since I'm taking over your show in the last segment of this here real quick. What did The Rock hand Cody? What are some of your guesses?
My guess is going to be possibly Dusty's Hall of Fame ring.
That's where my head went to, Ryan. It just seemed like, what else could it be? It made him emotional. It made him think about things. But then I guess it brings up the question, when did Rock get Dusty's Hall of Fame ring?
Right.
I was watching another podcast that said was speculating that exact same thing. I think it was Eric Bischoff's podcast, if I'm not mistaken, that I watched, and they speculated that, or no, it was Busted Open Radio is what it was. They speculated that maybe it was that watch that was alluded to on the press conference. Maybe Rock got a hold of that and like smashed it up or something. Where he made the line of referring to "You broke my heart and don't break my heart again" or something like that.
Could it be a fake mustache and we're gonna get Dashing Cody Rhodes back? Kidding.
No, it was a face palette so that we can get Stardust back. Let's be real.
Oh Lord.
Could it have been like a mask, or a picture of a mask? Then we could get the not dashing Cody Rhodes back.
Oh, that would be a deep callback, and I'd love it.
But it's going to be interesting to find out, if we do find out what that is. We have to find out at some point, you would think, because why else would they say it on TV?
In a 45-minute segment that lasted way too long.
Right.
Where they were pulling out deep cuts about trading the titles and letting people hold titles and all that.
Yeah.
That was the most random callback. I forgot until I did some research on it. I'm like, this had to have been something at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were also speculating that, like, or not speculating that, but they was talking about that on this podcast. And they said, that was, as the fans saying it, awkward. What did that do? What did it do? What was the purpose? Here, I'm going to hold your title. You hold my title. I was waiting on The Rock to honestly hit Cody with the title.
Yeah.
Or take a run for it with the title.
That would have then solidified at least, well, Rock's going to make a movie. How long is he going to make a movie? Probably for a year.
Yeah.
Right?
Maybe
we get Cody Rock at, I keep throwing this out because I'm booking the best SummerSlam ever because we're not getting Cody Rock at SummerSlam, are we?
I'm going to be honest. No. I think we might, because to me, this was not only did it do a deep callback, but then it teased The Rock with the WWE title.
Right.
And the only reason Cody asked for his title was for Collateral, so he would get the WWE title back. So, yeah, it was awkward, but I think it also put over the fact that Rock is going to come for that title for his family versus Cody just walking away with it. So I think it's going to be the greatest SummerSlam to ever exist, to be honest, in Cleveland. But I think that might be the main event.
It would have to be, right?
Well, yeah. Especially since you guys speculated earlier, Roman could be on the shelf for a long period of time if he has some health issue going on. So that's your next play.
Good point. Very good point. Well, this has been a great discussion and a great recap of all these shows: SmackDown, NXT, Stand and Deliver, WrestleMania, and then of course Raw. I know it is that time now. Let's pay some bills here and take care of paying some bills here. Let's go with Can Crushers first. I'm gonna let y'all go ahead and promote Can Crushers and promote all the sponsors and whatnot. Pay some bills.
Whew. Do you want to do it the right way, Jenks?
Let's do it our way.
All right.
Let's do it.
All right, ready? Hats, hoodies, tees, all the cool things that Al Snow and Hooligans have down at collar and elbow. Make sure you buy it all up. We have a promo code. What is it, Jenks?
It's Can Crushers. Save yourself 10% off at Can Crushers, or not at Can Crushers, but at collarandelbow.com. Maybe I'll figure it out. See, now we're a night early. I'm not getting this down. But to that point, we also have a WWE Shop affiliate code that you can go. You might get a discount, you might not, but click the link. If there is a link, I don't know if there is going to be one, but you know what? I'm going off my spiel. So we have an affiliate code that we use sometimes.
It's in our show notes.
It's going to be in our show notes. So
I mean, that's Ryan's show notes.
And then we can put it in ours too.
No, that's all right.
Use yours. You have your own.
Use your own.
Use Ryan's promo code. You might get a discount. Yeah. You mightn't.
the promo code for the final count. Use that one. If you come to Can Crushers, then you can use ours. But
Right.
there you go. Yeah.
Our other sponsor, I won't get too deep into it, but guys, check out Dubby. If you're huge into energy drinks, it has changed my world in energy drinks. Going to work at 4:00 in the morning, I'm up until 11 at night. Dubby has a lot of cool flavors out there, and the cool thing about it is there's no calories, there's no carbonation, there's none of that bad stuff, bad juju that comes in the canned stuff essentially, and it rocks. Check out the Beach and Peach. That's my favorite one. Can Crushers when you go to Dubby, and you'll save 10% on that as well.
All right, and then for the final count, go to CollarNobleBrand.com. Use our promo code FinalCountKY to save 10% at checkout. And then if you want to take this next one, Brian.
Which one? Okay. Yes. If you go to www.shop.com, you can use our discount code, personal link in the description. If you guys are here, use our code. If you go to Can Crushers, use their code.
Same thing for Collar Noble as well.
Yes.
And then head over to jcountyapp.com now to get your official Final Count hoodie for only $45 and t-shirts only $25. Again, that's jcountyapp.com, and that's your official Final Count hoodie or t-shirts. Hoodies are $45, t-shirts are $25, but you can also head on over to our website and tell them, Brian, what we have over at our website. We also have more t-shirts at our website.
We can have t-shirts, we can have hoodies, we can have card decals. Pretty much anything that's can be put on something is on something. There's more upgrades and stuff coming to the website, so be sure to follow and check that out. But also, you can check us out on Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Breaker, Overcast, Pocket Cast, Public Radio, and iTunes. Pretty much on any social media platform that you listen to podcasts on, whether you're driving to work, working out, doing stuff around the yard, whatever you want it to be, you can listen to us. You can listen to Can Crushers. So be sure to check all of us out. Use our discount codes.
Yes. Support goes a long way, guys. If you're listening, or you're watching, even just watching, listening, that goes a long way. And so we thank you, both of our podcasts. Thank you. This won't be the last time we'll all be together. There'll be more episodes.
This is quarterly, bitches. This is quarterly.
It is. It's quarterly. And so look forward to more episodes like this. And we're definitely excited about the relationship between Can Crushers and Final Count that we got going on here. Glad this could happen with all four of us finally.
It's about damn
and
time.
look forward again to more.
Yes.
What'd you say?
It's about damn time.
It's about damn time. I'll say it.
Sorry, I had to.
It's apropos.
It is.
It is. All right. Well, as I say every week, guys, y'all want to say it with me? We will see you down the road.
Road.